Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Young Sutton and I have an interesting GT to share with you today. This spread was shared with me by my friend and professional tarot and Lenormand reader, Petit. And this is a GT combining proximity and houses, so I think all of you house lovers will enjoy this. Now, the question was, where is my jewelry? Yes, this is a whodunit spread. Okay, so the story is that Petit and her husband hired a new maid 15 days prior to the incident. And while Petit was cooking, the maid entered her bedroom, I imagine, to clean. That evening, Petit noticed that the door to her wardrobe was ajar, but she didn't think anything of it at the time. Now, she kept her jewelry in a locked box inside the wardrobe, but the keys were right in the keyhole of this box, okay? Now, the next day, Petit said she awakened feeling that something was wrong. She went to her wardrobe and looked in there. She opened, I guess she noticed that the keys in the locker were turned in a different direction. So she opened it up and found that her gold bangles and earrings were missing, and they had great sentimental value. They were a wedding gift to her and her husband. So, all right. So the first thing she did was she laid a box spread, and she just wanted to know where her jewelry was. And I have to tell you right off the bat that the first card is the dog, and the dog is the card she uses for the hired help, right? It's, the dog is the card of those who assist you. And so this is the card that brought her attention to the maid. Now, you also have the enemy card as the center card. You have the fox for wrongness, and you have the mice for theft. And then, remember, she was asking, where is my jewelry? And the final card is the child, showing that it's in a new place, okay? And, this center line, too, we have the book for secrecy. The maid is standing on secrecy, right? And a choice, like premeditated, right? Possibly. But this center line shows like book and followed by mountain can be a refusal to disclose information, and then she takes possession of the jewelry. Or this could be like an unknown enemy, takes possession of the jewelry, but the bear can represent protection or possession of personal property, as well as possessiveness due to envy. And it also represents taking charge and asserting oneself. Now, the ways down here in the hidden issue space shows a choice, that she had options, right? Or she chose an alternate path, right? A corrupt path, other than what she normally does. Okay, and of course this choice leads to the mice and child, which shows a new development or a fresh start for the jewelry via a corrupt route. All right, so this sparked her interest and brought the maid into the picture, so she then laid a grand tableau. And here it is. This is a recreation of her grand tableau. And I chose this deck. This is the Whisper Lenormand by Terry Smith. This is one of my mini decks. And I chose it because of the directional cues matched the deck that Petit had used. Okay, so how did I begin? Well, first let me tell you that she charged the dog to represent the maid, and she charged the ring card to represent the jewelry, and then, of course, 28 and 29 are her and her husband. So where did I begin? I began by looking for the ring and the dog. And here you can see that the ring is near the dog. It's not near her. It's near the maid. Okay. Now, I found it interesting that the ring landed in the house of bouquet, because I think that the maid was surprised to find, those keys right in the locker, in the keyhole of the locker. I don't think she's ever been faced with this type of temptation before and considered it a gift. And the fact that the bouquet lands in heart, because, here, like I said, we got the ring and bouquet, so that leads me to look for the bouquet, right? And, you can see a connection here to the heart, right? Well, the bouquet lands in heart. And over here, we have the heart and whip. We got the whip right above the bouquet. It's in stars. Stars is in cross. The cross is in ring, which brings us right back to the ring. So there's a chain, right? And, you know, that kind of confirmed to me that the maid was battling desire. She had a tormented heart. She maybe felt it was meant to be, like this was a gift. You know, she like could not walk away from this. Yeah. Now, I also noticed that Prosody lands in snake, but she lands above house, right? And house is in bear and bear is in house. So there's a crisscross there, and that always catches my eye, right? So she lands in snake. She's standing on house and bear, bears and house with snake facing. So there's another bit of a chain. And that told me that Prosody did not protect her stuff sufficiently. I'm not blaming her, of course. I mean, this is her house, you know. She didn't think she needed to or didn't even think about it. I mean, she trusted this woman. But it does add the idea of a security breach. Now, that also brought my attention to the cross, which is very far from Prosody, as is the mice card, which told me that she'll suffer long and will not recover the items. All right? And just the fact that the cross lands in ring kind of confirms that for me. Like, it's gone. You're never getting it back. Oy. Okay, so, I mean, the fact that she's in snake, that's the house of betrayal. That's very important. And then that led to this this other chain, right? Because she's in the house of betrayal, and the clover, where's the clover? The clover is in her house, okay? So what's in clover? The mice, right? So mice is the card of theft and sneakiness. Clover is the card of taking chances and unexpected events, right? So I kept rolling with that one, and I then looked for what was in mice, and of course I found the birds, the card of impulsiveness, reactivity, and distraction. Now, distraction hit me. Looking at birds, then we find what's in birds but the mountain, the enemy card, okay? And in mountain, so what's in mountain? The key. The key is so significant to this, right? And then we have the clouds and the key, which touches the maid's card. So that's where I ended that chain. I mean, I always end a chain when it brings me back to something significant. Some chains aren't even worth following, right? But with practice, you will, with experience, you will know which chains are worth following. Okay. So the other point was the ship, right? Because the snake lands in ship, and the ship is the card of seeking profit and betterment. So I looked for the ship, and for me, the ship, I always want to see what it's facing. What is it heading? Where's the journey heading? It's heading toward the key in mountain. So that kind of brought me full circle back to that. So, it just kept coming back to the maid, no matter which way I looked at this. So now let's look at the maid's card, because she lands in the house of secrets, and the fox is like just pointing right to her, like she did it. But it's also, the fox is also in her house, regardless of directionality of this card. The fox lands in her house. So the fox, of course, is betrayal and wrongness and sneakiness and everything else. Now, she knights to these, when you knight above, those are influencing cards, right? They're influencing down on her. So she knights to the ring and the heart. So that told me she was influenced by desire for this jewelry. She also connects. How does she connect to the ring? She connects via scythe and cross, okay? And that's an interesting combination, because it can refer to self-inflicted suffering or taking a risk out of a sense of duty, maybe to her family, right? The lily is the traditional card of family or family harmony, right? You know, like doing what's right for your family or that kind of thing. Yeah. And remember, the scythe is the card for reaping what you sow. And here it's connected to the card of suffering. But this combination here of the flanking cards around the Maid, I mean, because normally when you see the lily above, touching above, or in the same line as someone, it's telling them that they did something out of with good intentions, right? But here, of course, this lily is followed by the coffin. I'll get to that in a minute. But the fact that it's flanking her with the cross just really jumped out at me and told me that she felt justified somehow in this theft. Like she felt like she deserved it, maybe due to her hard life. It could also show that she just wasn't thinking of herself, but of her family's welfare, as I just said, you know. So, okay, let's read her line, because her line is significant. And it tells me that she comes from a place of struggle and hardship, which could prompt her to bury her morals, right? And take a chance, as she's, here she's taken a chance, right? Because she was attracted to the gold, right? Now, letter and child looked like she decided to express herself or her needs and desires in a new way. I mean, the child being naive and innocent leads me to believe that she never did this before. I really got that impression. And that would explain the cross and the lily, too. It seems like she felt desperate, right? I mean, this whole section here is desperation. Cross, lily, coffin. Spelled desperation. Yeah. So it seems like she felt desperate, or was maybe talked into doing it by another. Here we have the letter with the birds above and the birds as in mice, right? She may have been talked into this by someone. Yeah, you know, maybe by a family member, because we got the lily in the letter. Yeah. Okay, so the moon, too. The moon is important because it's attraction, right? And it's traditionally connected to prestige and recognition, right? But it's also associated, those things are associated with attraction and captivation, right? You get prestige, you receive recognition by attracting others and captivating their interest. So the fact that the maid went into the wardrobe and she was searching for something or snooping, and then she saw the keys hanging in the keyhole, that captivated her. You know, it's like she just was not able to walk away from that, just like a child, you know. Right, now her column is also interesting. In fact, the columns touching her, too. All three of these columns really tell a complete story on their own. The first column, right here, shows that her focus is on the jewelry, okay, the sun above the ring. And this is also the card of determination, right? So she was determined to profit because of her state of oppression. Now, her column is headed by the mice, right? I mean, look at her column. We have mice, scythe, fox, and then her. So look what's influencing her. Look what's impacting her. You know, that's, geez, we got the mice for sneakiness and corruption and theft and loss, and the scythe, and I mean, it all says sudden, sneaky, risky act. Okay, so the third column is headed by the snake, the card of betrayal, and it's influencing. We could say it's influencing her her desire to act in secrecy, while putting up a smoke screen, right? Because here we have it's supported by the clouds down here. Dark side facing her too. We could say she, putting up a smoke screen to make herself appear innocent. There's the lily. Woo! Okay, I mean, there's so much here. I could go on and on forever, which I know those of you who read GTs, you can do that. You can spend hours getting lost in a GT. But I thought I'd leave some of this for you to play with. So I'd like to know what you see in this. Do you think the maid is innocent? Do you think that she was coerced somehow into stealing? And why might you think that? Now here are some things you can try. You can follow there's a small chain with the fish card. You can follow that. Check the center 4 and tell me what you see in the center 4 cards. These are the center 4. Boop, 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 boop. What do you see in the corners? Because the corners tell a story too. So you can read the corner cards in their houses. Right? And you can share your findings here or in the Facebook group, Lisa Loves Lenormand, Traditional Method of Distance. So you can share that with anything else you see. That's it for today, my friends. Thanks, as always, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Class is dismissed. Now go play with your cards. Bye, everybody.